Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lizzie. I post beauty related content here on YouTube. If they're the videos you love to watch, then please hit that subscribe button down below. Today's video, we are ranking my 10 favorite Colourpop palettes. I felt like telling you my 10 favorites instead of ranking like all of the £9, all of the £12, all of the big £30 would just be a little bit more interesting for now. So in 10th place, we have this small palette called Citrus Fizz. This palette, all of these palettes, I kind of use them for the same thing. If I'm not doing YouTube and I want to go out and I want to wear some makeup, I tend to pick these palettes. So I thought I'd rank them from my least favorite to favorite, but they're all my favorite palettes. So the reason I have chosen this is because when I'm in a rush and I just want to make the look easy, this makes it easy. I have two transition shades and I have a lid shade and I have an inner corner shade. It's just perfect. Like, it's easy to use this palette and just have a quick everyday look. You could easily just use it for like a couple of shades as well, like to just put something through your crease and something in your inner corner, or you can use it to just do a full-on look. It's really up to you, and I honestly love using this palette, and I love that it's got like that magnetic closing too. The next palette is the Clay It Core, and again I use this palette just to throw something on, and it is absolutely divine. Haven't used it as often as I've used my other palettes, but it's just one of those palettes where you've got every shade of shimmer in there, you've got so many mattes in there, and it's like equal. So it's like I can easily just, because it's in colour order as well, I can go down here and then pick two shades, one for lid, one for inner corner. It's a really gorgeous palette. It's one of those that if I need to get ready at work, which I usually would put something like this in my bag. Sometimes I tend to take makeup to work to get ready when I'm going out, and then I just don't use the makeup, but this would be something that I would throw in my bag. I know the pigmentation works. And then the next palette is like an OG palette for me. This is Sandstone, and I would have thought it would be up there with my top, but then I realised there are other palettes I reach for more, and I think it's because this palette just doesn't have as many mattes in there. There's a lot of shimmers in there, which makes me not reach for this palette as much as I would reach for the others. There's some gorgeous shades in there, like this yellow shimmer shade, very unique. I've never really seen a yellow shimmery eyeshadow before, but this palette has it. And another reason I really love this palette is the design. The design is absolutely gorgeous. And even though there's not as many mattes in here, you've got the few mattes that I would tend to reach for, but it does really limit what I can do with this palette. The next palette is one of those that I didn't realise how much I do reach for it. It's the Off Melrose palette. This one was such a nice collection as well. It's something that, again, I feel a bit limited when I'm using it. Like, there's only 3 mattes in there and the rest are shimmers. It's a gorgeous palette, but it's one of those that I will pick up when I know exactly what I want to do. This though is the best pressed glitter ever. I do love that with Colourpop. Like, they have got some amazing pressed glitters in there. You're not going to be disappointed whatsoever. And I just feel like if you want that like pinky smoky look, this is what you can go for. And this duochrome here is absolutely stunning too. It's just got some nice shades that, again, if I know what look I'm going for, I will quickly pick up that palette. And then the next one we have is the Christie X Colourpop palette. This is the At Forest Sight. This one is gorgeous because you've got different sections for different looks that you want. So you've got a section of like blues and greens, you've got a section of like burgundies and like if you want to make it a bit more warm tone, and then you've got a section of neutral. So this is that palette where I can do different looks with it, or I can mix the colours together, but it really does help me figure out what look I'm going for. For example, if I wanted a more purpley kind of look, I will go for this section over here. It just helps me know and plan out my looks, because when I'm going out, literally I don't plan what I'm doing, so I need to know, okay, this is what I'm going for, so I need this palette. And this is one of those ones where you've got a bit more option in there. You're not as limited as the other two palettes, but you can still come up with a gorgeous look. And then they've got like a shimmery black in the corner. I love the Colourpop shimmery blacks. They are gorgeous, and it's not just that like first layer with these palettes. It's like you can get it with however many layers you go in and it will still be a shimmery colour. My dog, I've had to put an inflatable cone on her because she has bitten a chunk out of her foot. I say bitten, like she has like removed loads of hair from her paw, so she's got a vet appointment, so she's not happy, but you're going to keep hearing her in the background because she's like licking trying to get to it. And the next palette we've got is the Colourpop Mandalorian. I thought this would be up there with maybe my top 3, but I realised because it's an all green palette, and as much as I love green eyeshadow, like I absolutely love green eyeshadow, I don't reach for it as much as the others. Like, it's actually really gorgeous palette. I do have a review of this one on my channel. I think I've got a review of most of those on my channel, and I love it. And I think as well, you don't have to go for green because you've got these 2 neutral shades here as well. It's really lovely, and the pigmentation is gorgeous, and it's got some really lovely shimmers in there. Really can't go wrong with the shimmer formula of Colourpop. Like, you're not gonna be upset with the pigment, you're not gonna have patchiness, like it's all gonna work, and that's what I love about these palettes. Next palette, again, I thought would be in my top 3, but it's not. It's number 4. This is the Limoncello palette. This palette I absolutely love because it just reminds me of Greek culture, because I absolutely love lemons, and I'm sure most of you who watch me probably know this, and if you don't, I love lemons. I put lemon on everything. It's the best taste, best flavour. Sour. I really love sour food. And yeah, so this kind of just, it hit a spot for me. The packaging is gorgeous again. And then the colours, you've got some really nice neutrals. Green shimmer, I love a good green shimmer, and then a pop of blue. Blue is so nice on my eye colour. You put it on the bottom line, lash line, and it makes your eyes pop. So I really do love the shades in this palette. There's literally not a single shade in there that I wouldn't wear. And yeah, it's one of those ones where I've got everything in the palette. I've got some greens, I've got some blues, I've got some neutrals, I've got an inner corner highlight, I've got a lid shade. Like, there's not a shade in there that I haven't used, and you can do multiple looks with this, but it's one of those palettes that I need more time to use it. Like, if I'm in a rush, I don't pick it up, but if I'm not in a rush, then it's this palette. The next palette, which is number 3, is a new palette to my collection, but honestly, even though I've used it once, the colour story is on point. It is the Not a Box of Chocolate palette. I will, when I start going out again, or when I start wearing makeup outside, because it's only the beginning of the year, this is probably going to be the palette that I reach for a lot. This palette has every shade of neutral you could possibly need, and a pressed glitter as usual, because it's a bit darker than the pressed glitter from Mandalorian, but it's perfect for this weather. Sorry, I'm just like hitting things. Yeah, perfect for the weather, which I absolutely love. It's got so many rich tones in there. It's got an inner corner, it's got lid shades, it's got so many transition shades, so you're not gonna be without a good eye look with this palette. And this one I can see myself playing with again and again. There is one more palette that I've got on the way to me, which is the Pretty Please palette, and I think that would have been in my top 10 if I had used it by now, but I haven't used it yet. Number 2, not 9, number 2, it's the 9th one I'm talking about. This is the Gather Round Sisters original Hocus Pocus palette. This palette I got for Christmas a few years ago, and do you know what? Best palette ever. Absolutely love this palette, and you know why? Because of these shades down here. It's got the greens, it's got the purples, well, the deep pinks, the berry tones that I like, it's got the lid shades, it's got the pressed glitter that I need, it's got everything in a palette. And it's not a palette that, even though there's more shades in there, it's not a palette that is hard to use. It's a palette like when I'm rushing, I know exactly the shades that I need, and it's like different squares. You can go for different looks, so you can go for green, you can go for burgundy, you can go for neutral, another neutral. There's so many different sections in here of different looks you can get out of it. I love it. I really do love it, and the packaging is 10 out of 10. I just wish there were some mirrors in these palettes, because when I do reviews for you or when I want to do my makeup, it's really hard for me to do that when there is no bloody mirror. And then the last palette, I don't know if you guys would know this, but it's the big, is it 30? Yep, it is a 30 pan palette. This is the Smoke and Roses palette. And the reason I don't know if you guys would know if this is my favorite is because I don't really talk about it here on my channel. But this is the #1 reach for palette when I go out. It is the #1 palette that I sit there and I love dipping into. It's the #1 palette that I like playing with. It's the #1 palette I love looking at. It has everything. Again, you've got your khakis, you've got your berries, you've got your paler tone, your pastel pinks, you've got your neutrals, you've got every lid shade you can think of. Really and truly, it's probably got every shade in it that most of these palettes down below here have. I just love it. I love using this. It can give you the nice prettiest pink look. It can give you the nice smoky green look. It can give you a nice autumnal berry look. It is absolutely divine. It hasn't got any pressed glitters in, which is a shame because I do love a good glitter. But it's fine because I can reach into another palette if I want. But the shimmers in here are so good that you are not missing out if you don't have, sorry, I've put them on that finger, if you don't have a pressed glitter. But honestly, the pressed glitters as well, you do not need a base to put them down. You literally can just put them on. So yeah, just the one thing missing for me is a pressed glitter, but it's not something that I'm mega sad about. So that is my top 10 Colourpop palettes. And I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please leave below like your favorite, maybe your top 3 Colourpop palettes, because I'll be very interested to see, and maybe there'll be something in there that I don't reach for that I've probably got in my collection, and maybe I could do a look with it. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please smash a huge thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!